I messed up. I really messed up. I take nerve pills and I am not supposed to drink on them, but I had an emotionally day yesterday so I did. I never do this. I rarely even drink. An acquaintance and his new girl were scream arguing, and I split them up and tried to smooth over the argument. He went home, and the GF stayed and chatted for a while. Here's where I did the worst thing I ever done. Long story short, the GF ended up going down on me. She wanted to keep going, but I made her leave. Finally, I'm the most worst person ever. What do? I woke up crying with guilt. I never done anything like it. Sorry, why all? I feel I should admit I lied to keep myself as anonymous as possible. I'm female. The acquaintance is female. And the incident happened with a male. I am not looking to be excused due to my gender, but I feel like it will provide some clarity on the what if it were reverse comments. Bro, what? Why is everyone telling you not to use alcohol as an excuse? You were very intoxicated, and she was the one that initiated it. That is what happened. And after a while you told her to stop, and you feel super guilty. Did you want it at the moment it happened at all? Because it does not really sound like it. I'm sorry, but I do not think I understand completely. I had to read this 3 times and still am not sure if I understand. So while you were intoxicated, another person's girlfriend sexually assaulted you. Am I missing something here? Also, pardon my ignorance as this seems to be an important part. What are nerve pills? It is Klonopin prob spelled wrong. And I don't know. I knew what was happening, but at the time didn't care that it was wrong. I've never done anything like this, and I feel so bad. Hey, just chiming in on this thread to say that I have taken Klonopin before and blacked out on it. I could have done anything and not remembered. Also, it makes you relaxed, so things that would normally be stressful, such as your friend's GF trying to suck your dick, do not feel that serious. This all seems like you were really ducked up, and this girl took advantage of you, which again is sexual assault and abuse. Do not take on the blame of this girl assaulting you. If you were intoxicated and she was sober, that is sexual assault. People still have agency when they are intoxicated. It generally doesn't cross over into sexual assault territory until they are so drunk they lose agency completely. We don't really know if that line was crossed in this scenario. He took Klonopin and drank, which you are told not to do for a very good reason. And though we do not know exactly how ducked up he was, he said in another comment thread he does not remember much. At best, in this scenario, he was taken advantage of. At worst, he was raped, depending on your definition of the word. Either way, it was not his fault. And I hate to say it, but if the genders were reversed, this comment thread would look a lot different. I hate that you rewrite about the reverse genders, but honestly, even when the genders are reversed, I feel like people are on the you had a few drinks, so therefore you didn't consent train really fast and early. We also don't know if the girl even knew OP was drinking, and that certainly matters as well. Some people in this thread have never mixed alcohol and benzos, and it shows. Dude, you need to give yourself a break. You are not a part of their relationship. This person is an acquaintance and you barely know them both. It is whatever. You were clearly incapacitated. That is an ugly combo. And your guilt shows that the behavior is not indicative of who you are as a person. Tell the dude. For sure. But you do not know either of them, and so just chalk it up as a learning experience. And stop mixing alcohol and benzos. That combo has made weeks of my life disappear into thin air. I was thinking the same thing about some of those comments. I have mixed a 2 before, was in a bad place mentally, and there is an 18-hour black hole in my memory where I was allegedly doing and saying things I would never do. Nothing terrible, but way out of the ordinary for me. You were in a vulnerable state. You drank, which you were not supposed to do since you take pills. But you had an emotional day, so it is totally understandable. You are not to blame here. It seems like your friend's girlfriend took advantage of you. If I were you, I'd simply explain what happened to my friend. It is better to be honest now. Who knows, your friend's girlfriend might use this later against you. Even if this isn't your fault at all. It is always better to hear the truth from the person himself than hear it later from someone else. You said he is an acquaintance. Look, I'm probably gonna get downvoted because everyone gets uptight about cheating because of that one person that cheated on them. But if you are not really friends with this guy, then the person who did the wrong thing is the girl. Yes, you knew she was in a relationship, so you are not blameless, but she is the one who broke the terms of her relationship. An equitable monogamous relationship is a contract or set of boundaries between two people who have agreed on sexual exclusivity. You did not agree to that, and you did not pressure her into breaking her boundaries. And maybe they are non-monogamous. You do not know the boundaries of their relationship if she did not tell you. Either way, it sounds to me like she used you because she was mad at her partner, which is really terrible behavior. I did be more upset with her since she put you in that position. Also, I see some people saying, do not use alcohol and pills as an excuse, which is really toxic advice. Do you remember very much of the night? Overall, if you were that intoxicated, this could very much qualify as sexual assault on her part. Edit, just adding that I do think you should tell your friend, but please do not lose sleep over this. It's not your relationship. You might lose a friend, but they sound like toxic people and your post does not make it seem like you all were close anyway. Pre or post edit. This was rape, and it sounds like your acquaintance's partner was looking to get revenge by having sex with you. I'm sure they did not even think of asking you, and it sounds like you were in no state to consent. From personal experience, pills with alcohol can be more disorienting than being blackout drunk. The effects hit you like a truck before you even notice, and you have no choice but to just let things happen to you. You are so out of it that your brain cannot make the connection between what is happening and that it is happening to you. People have attacked you for making excuses when pills alcohol are a legitimate reason to be unable to consent. It might have been a bad choice, but it was certainly not a choice inviting assault. What is the partner's excuse? What kind of sick duck A? Revenge cheats on their partner and B? Cheats with a blacked out participant? Woman or man? That is ducked, and I'm so sorry they did that to you. Regardless of how you choose to handle this, please go easy on yourself. You were sexually assaulted, man. Do not listen to anyone telling you otherwise. If you were intoxicated and she was not, that is assault. If the genders were reversed, it would be super obvious. But just because you are a man does not mean it cannot happen to you too. Do not be too hard on yourself, and I wish you the best. Tell your friend what happened. Do not try to use that weak ass nerve pill and alcohol excuse, just tell him what happened. You will probably lose a friend over it, at least until after he breaks up with her, but that is better than him finding out when she is mad one day and tells him. Wow, lots of shaming and victim blaming going on here in the comments. This is sexual assault. OP. It sounds like you were very uncomfortable by what she did and did not want it to happen. She clearly initiated things and not you. Imagine if it was the other way around and you initiated things with her. That would be a different story, but this is not the case. You cannot consent when you are too intoxicated. Please do not blame yourself here. Tell your friend what happened and express to him that you did not and could not consent to this. If he is a true friend, he will understand. Please do not listen to people who tell you the alcohol pill thing is just an excuse. You were intoxicated and she performed sexual acts on you while she was sober. That is sexual assault. Imagine if a man did this to a woman, and if it suddenly becomes sexual assault, then you will see what I mean when I tell you she assaulted you. You are not a horrible cheater because of this. She took advantage of you. Combining alcohol and pills is messing up, regardless of consequences. Live and learn. Do not do it again, but do not make the mistake of thinking that makes you responsible for being taken advantage of by a relative stranger when almost insensible. I'm impressed and relieved you were able to throw them out before it went further. Arguably you were raped. That is a judgment for you. And if you choose counselors or the police, if you encourage them, then it is less clear. Although I did argue, if you were insensible and they were sober, they are still somewhat responsible. But as you have described it, you are not a bad person. You were a victim. There is a clear difference. I'm posting after your gender reveal update, and as a man, somehow it seems a more serious assault with you being a woman. Although I know objectively it is not. But either way, you were taken advantage of when in a vulnerable situation by a creep. Be strong. You will be okay. But do not take the blame for the outcome just because you were not fully in control of yourself. If you did encourage the action, then even more seriously, do not combine pills and alcohol. You did him a favor, a painful favor, but better you tell him than he find his girlfriend with some other guy after investing more time and effort into the relationship. Also props for being able to stop her while totally wasted. I can guarantee you, I would have thought they cannot hang you twice and kept going. I saw your comments that you were going to tell the acquaintance, which I think is good, but that you barely remember anything and you woke up crying. Also you seem to be self-victim blaming because you mixed up your meds with booze. I agree with some people who say this sounds like assault, and I think you should talk to some trusted third party about that part. Just telling the dude is not going to make the guilt go away instantly, and you may start remembering things and feel badly about the situation all over again. I said something similar on this post in another sub and I am sticking to it. Please don't beat yourself up. You were ducked up and yet still put a stop to it once you were able to get your brain straight. You weren't a bad person. You made a dumb decision with the mixing. But, hey, from what I am reading, that's the only mistake you made. From now on, I would say to nix any hangout plans if you were going to do such a thing. Protect yourself. You were incapable of consent due to being out of your mind intoxicated. Pills and alcohol practically put you in a non-consensual conscious to make decision state. Therefore, you were taken advantage of because the girl wanted to thank you or otherwise in sexual terms and you had no capacity to decline. None is practically your fault. You are not an asshole. You had no capacity to give consent or knew that was going to happen. And in shock you let it happen. It could happen to anybody. You cannot consent if you are too inebriated. Other pills for anxiety or nerve pain. If it is anxiety, I most likely take similar, so the alcohol probably just made you feel drunker, which means, again, you cannot consent. You did the correct thing withdrawing your consent, and you should not feel guilty about that. In fact, you having the presence of mind to say no and withdraw your consent is great, honestly. Don't feel guilty. 1. You were drunk and high on your meds. She took advantage of you. 2. She was the one that cheated on her BF, not you. 3. You stopped her from doing more. If I was you, I'd talk to your acquaintance and tell him about what happened, or tell her to tell him, otherwise you will tell him. If she cheated once, she'll likely do it again. And if I was him, I'd like to know. And if I was him, I wouldn't be mad at you for telling me, but mad at for cheating. He might be mad at you too, but I think this is the best you can do in this situation. So a lot of people have already touched on the consent thing. In my opinion, if you did something while under the influence and regretted it, I wouldn't consider you as having given consent. Even if it was your indiscretion, I wouldn't feel guilty, though I wouldn't go screaming rape unless the other person was aware you were under the influence. But anyway, regardless, you did not cheat. Your actions were not the deceptive or dishonest ones. The other person's were. Don't take responsibility for someone else's decision. It's not your problem, nor your responsibility or obligation to say or do anything about it. Also, I enjoyed the gender juggling. Look up information on the phone response. What happened to you might have triggered it, and that is why you just went along with it. You were compromised in an unexpected situation, and that is quite frankly threatening. She wronged you, no question. Fawning going along with the antagonistic person to appease and avoid the situation escalating into something worse. It's almost like a reflex, not something you consciously decide to do. And please disregard all of these misguided comments about intoxication not being an excuse. It would apply if you had initiated the situation, but that wasn't it. It probably comes from a place of gender double standards that fundamentally see women as powerless victims and men as pigs who always want sex and thus can't be assaulted. It's total and complete bullcrap. Also, in high school, my best friend's boyfriend hit on me hard. I told her about it and learned a lesson. She wasn't that great of a friend. She got mad at me and it destroyed our bond. Last I know, she's her FB friend, they broke up after he broke into her house, and she has nothing to do with him and hasn't for years. You shouldn't feel any guilt over this. It wasn't your fault. It doesn't matter if both parties consented at first. If at any point one person says they've had enough, then all activity should cease immediately. Furthermore, drinking in general can impair you. You aren't in total control of yourself. Trust me, I've been in similar situations, though it didn't go very far. Not trying to compete with you. You were intoxicated. Their relationship is unhealthy. If you accept the blame, the other parties will blame you. You are not to blame. She went down on you. They need to break up or leave you out of it. This is not your problem. So find your distance from this whole situation and do not blame yourself for the dysfunction of others. Clonazepam alcohol can cause blackouts. If you were truly blacked out, this is not your fault. You did not consent, and she took advantage of you. If you were conscious of what was going on and knew what you were doing, which you seem to imply you did, then you are at fault and you need to face up to the consequences. No one here knows what really happened but you, and I trust you to make the right decision. Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing for more videos.